everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G, here with Flynn Foster of Guaranty Media, the noun.
Spell with a Y. It's a noun.
Spell with a Y. We're going to learn a little bit more about that, learn a little bit more about his backstory. And I heard somewhere through the grapevine we're supposed to talk about duck hunting at some point during this show. So we might even get into
Wouldn't
that.
hurt my feelings.
That's what I've heard. So before we do that, I want to give a big shout out to our two sponsors, Triton Stone Group and the newest sponsor, Falaya Real Estate. Stick around, hear a little bit more about them and what they've got going on at the end of the episode. But without further ado, Flynn, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
I'm glad we could make you fit in the schedule, right?
Yeah, well, you've had some really, really good guests so far, and I'm happy just to fill in wherever you need me.
And the best one's the next one, right? So the best one's this one.
Yes, absolutely. Of course it is.
So who are you? What do you do?
My name's Flynn Foster, born and raised in Baton Rouge. I grew up at 355 Sherwood Forest Boulevard.
And this is a live episode, giving that address out.
No, that's where I grew up.
Okay.
That's not where I live. I was one of four siblings. My parents are from North Louisiana originally. Shout out to Pollock, Louisiana, and Oak Grove, Louisiana. And I grew up here and had a good upbringing. Got to go to a nice school, go Knights. Went to LSU, got into the radio business, and most of my career, majority of it's been family business oriented, although I've done some other things. And today I go to work, Guaranty Corporation. We do several things, and usually go home, hang out with my wife. We're empty nesters now, a lot of fun. But trying to stay very active in the community, though, it's very important. The city of Baton Rouge has been great to my family for almost a century now. Our company started in 1926 by my grandfather.
Oh wow!
And I'm trying to continue the legacy. And my father worked for our company for 69 years in one way or another, from right after World War II on. And I've done a few other things though. I've been in the mortgage business. Was there for about 12 years. Worked with a couple of great companies, Resource One Mortgage and GMFS Lending. I got to work with one of your guests, T. Brown, who is just gold.
Good old T.
Love that company. And I've been running the family business for about the last 11 plus years. So that's, I have two boys, beautiful wife Dana at home, two boys college age and trying to find their way in the world, and going to school during a pandemic and all that other stuff that, so.
Navigating the rest of COVID with everyone else.
Whoever thought you would do your classes on a screen,
Well, I was homeschooled, so I did.
Yeah, well, the masses.
Yeah.
Homeschool, obviously, I guess what they all became was homeschooled.
That's right. Everybody's freaking out. How do we do this new schooling at home, and how do we adapt to classes online? I'm like, this is
no big deal for you, huh?
Every other homeschooler was like, wait, what's changing?
Yeah.
What's different?
Exactly. And so anyway, try to get out and have fun on occasions, like the outdoors a lot.
Yeah.
And have a great team of people I get to work with all the time. And we're just trying to continue to build our company.
I love it. So it started in 1926. Did it start as Guaranty Broadcasting Corporation? Or
no, it started
what was the history
as
of that?
It was two companies. There was a parent company called Guaranty. This is real exciting. Guaranty Bond and Finance and Guaranty Income Life Insurance Company.
Wow.
And when we bought Channel 9 in 1964-ish, we changed Guaranty Bond and Finance Company to Guaranty Corporation. We kept the insurance company. Somewhere in the late 80s, Aflac, the duck, came along and had a broadcasting division, bought Channel 9 from us. We went around the country and bought at one time about 15 radio stations, Ohio, California, and all over South Louisiana. Sold those through the years, kept the Baton Rouge cluster. And then we sold our insurance company about 5 years ago after 90 years of owning that, and to a big group out of Chicago. And so we sold 90% of our assets when we sold the insurance company. Radio, we're probably in town more known for radio and in the past television. But in terms of size, the insurance company was really the big dog in the room. And so we sort of had to figure out what we were going to be when we grow up. And so we've been on a journey the last 5 years doing different things and getting back to our entrepreneurial roots from when we started with my grandfather. I never met him, he was long gone when I was born. So, but obviously we started as an entrepreneurial company. So,
yeah, I mean, how do you go from like insurance to radio? I mean, in my eyes, that's two entirely different fields.
And Channel 9 was a tenant in our building and went up for sale. And the general manager, a man by the name of Tommy Gibbons, put the TV station on the air in the 1940s. And somebody from New Orleans was going to buy him. He knew my dad. He went down to my dad's office and said, "Hey, we're for sale. Would you like to buy us?" My dad said, "We're an insurance company. We're not a TV company."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, I need your answer by tomorrow because a group out of New Orleans is going to buy us and I want to keep us locally owned." My dad and Mr. Gibbons worked on looking at how a TV station works, how the money involved and all that. In a 24-hour period, we got into the television business. And with it came an undeveloped FM signal, WAFB 98.1 FM, which today is Eagle 98. And so we had to build an FM tower. Nobody had FM radio stations. We went on the air. Everybody had AM. We went on the air. And my dad said, "Boy, it's crystal clear. It's awesome. Nobody can hear us," because nobody had FM signals. And so my dad was a sort of at his heart a real gambler, and was willing to roll the dice. Some people were on his board of directors were very upset. He bought a TV station on a whim. And I can just knowing the numbers, I know it was a very good thing. And where it's taken us today into radio and all the digital things we're doing is a great thing.
Right. I mean, with a board of directors, especially for like an insurance company, going into this new avenue is not going to sit well with them regardless. They're there to maintain the business as is, make sure it grows, prospers, and continues on. When you start saying, "Hey, we're going to dive into a whole different avenue," I'm sure there was many board meetings where there was probably some fists shaking, some voices raised. "Why'd you do this?" So on and so forth.
I can guarantee every member of that board of directors at the time was born before television was invented. So the idea of getting into something, it might be like the modern world of people getting into cryptocurrency.
Right.
Older people, which I might fall into that category or somewhere in between, I might go, "What the heck is this?" And television, for those people, they were all old school bankers, insurance people and all that. So very foreign to them.
Something they could put their hands on, tangible insurance, banking.
Yeah.
TV is like, how do we make money here?
That's air.
Yeah.
And you make it by doing what you did when you introduced your clients in the beginning of the show, is you sell advertising,
right.
And you make it work for them. So hopefully they'll stay with you and more people will do it.
Yeah. So when you came on board, you said it was 11 years ago?
January 1st. I'm sure I was duck hunting. January 1st of 2010. Yeah.
Okay. So a little over 11 years.
Yeah.
So what was the state of the union of Guaranty at the time?
Wow. That's a loaded question. My father had gotten very old and sick. Fortunately, he lived to be 94 years old, but was no longer really able to effectively manage just because he,
was 94 years old.
Yeah. And when I got there, he was 8 and 9. I forget what he was, but anyway, he was very old. And so we had some pulling the team together, things that we needed to work on, which was a real good challenge. I had a nucleus of people there that were good and smart. Gordy Rush, my general manager, who wasn't the general manager at the time, but is now, of radio. So I had a good core. And it was my job. We have two buildings where we're located, and it was almost like a wall was up between those buildings, although it's just a door and some steps. And so I had to go
unlevel steps.
Yeah, unlevel. Well, yeah. Well, one is a very old building. I guess they built them shorter back then, so it can get confusing. And so I had to pull everybody together. That was my main task. And I actually wrote notes to my father at 6 months after being there, and I saved it on Microsoft Word, 6-month notes. And I went and sat down with him and said, "Here's what I see." And I mostly didn't speak the first 6 months. I just observed. I do have a philosophy of one mouth, two ears, use them proportionately. And so that's what I did when I got there. And I heard a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, I virtually interviewed every employee there to find out what their thoughts were on things and where things were going. And so, and we had a great president of our insurance company at the time, John Lancaster, and our CFO, Forrest Mills, is still with us. And he'll probably be there till 10 o'clock tonight or something ridiculous and back at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I had a good nucleus that I got to work with. And so a lot of fun. A lot of fun building it.
And that statement you made about the 2 ears, one mouth, use them proportionally, that is key when you have a new person coming in at the top, right?
Yes.
Or a new person coming in, going to be running it, whether it be a family business or you got hired for a C-suite or a managing position.
Yes.
You know, because if you come in with all these great big ideas, you may be not so well taken.
Right.
But being able to use those ears, I think, kind of demonstrates how you can become an effective leader and how you become an effective manager going into a new corporation.
Yes. And a lot of time I think executives, C-suite type people come in and they think everybody's just dying for them to be there. Maybe the board is or the owner or something like that is, but it's not always true. There's sometimes, this is the way we've done it and all this kind of stuff. And if you go, I wasn't hired or brought back in to blow things up, but at the same time, I had a job and responsibility to our shareholders.
Right.
At the time, we had 70-something shareholders literally across the country, and lots of family members that I represent and actually report to, sisters, cousins, second cousins, nieces, nephews.
They need those quarterly statements to read.
I'm trying to, just represent the family. And for me, it's been like the honor of a lifetime to be able to do something like that. And as I like to say in the office, I'm trying to figure out how to get us through the next 95 years. I assume I won't be here, but I mean, that's what I'm trying to set us up so that if family members do want to be involved in one way or another, then we can, be here at the end of this century.
Yeah. So. And then how do you kind of integrate family members with a business for people that have been there for 20 years?
Yeah. So I am the only family member who works there. My sister, Faye, used to do HR. I had a half brother who passed away a couple of years ago, and he had worked for the insurance company for about 20 years. My two other sisters at one time or another had worked there. I think my dad's sister worked there in the 30s or something like that. I can't quite remember all the family stories and everything. And so what I try to do is communicate with these diverse kind of shotgun family members through lots of texts and take their phone calls and answer their emails and what's going on and what are we doing and da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I am more of a communicator than my father was. My father came from that greatest generation, grew up during the Depression, went to war, his philosophy was shut up and get to work. And, which is not the worst thing.
Yeah. It's effective of that one person getting the work done.
Yes.
But of a collaborative sense.
And in this modern world,
right,
where people want to be pulled in and want to know what the bigger purpose is, that's what we've tried to do. I have read a lot of books, Lencioni and Simon Sinek and other those type of people. And I've seen them speak and I watch their YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. And I'm trying to bring as many people in. And I know what I know, and that's it. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything I don't know. It sounds kind of stupid, but right. I mean, I don't know anything else other than what I know. So I've got more to learn, and having all the ideas and being unwilling to adapt and change is not, it's not how I am.
Yeah. It's more focused on what needs to happen, not what I think needs to happen, but what needs to happen for the betterment of the business.
Yes, absolutely. Because I have some ideas and I rant and rave in my office sometimes, and I just need to get that out. And I usually do it to my CFO, and then we go back into a meeting or whatever, and we have a good conversation.
Yeah, which is good. It's how can we have that collaborative sense but still get work done?
At some point, though, you have to make a decision, and I'm the ultimate decision maker, but I definitely want to hear what other people have to say about it.
Right. Yeah. And that's at the top, you have to be able to, at the end of the day, listen, but also be able to execute and not just follow along because people said that's what you should do. It's like, nope, this is what needs to happen for the company. I feel strongly about it, and we've got to just power through.
Yeah, and everybody doesn't always agree, and I can't make everybody happy, and that's just life.
Yeah.
And that's actually my personality is probably to try to do that. I want everybody to like me, and it's unreasonable, and you just have to make decisions, and that's just life, you know. And sometimes we're slower to make them, but we eventually get there.
Yeah. So you came on board 11 years ago. You've got the insurance company was still intact at the time?
Yeah, it was. So there was a lot to do with that at the time.
So insurance company and TV station.
Radio.
Okay, so the TV was already
gone in like 1988, 1989, although we're still kind of known for having owned it,
Okay, so you come on board, insurance, radio. What was kind of after you had your 6 months, what was kind of that revelation of where the next step was with the company?
Getting the right people on the bus and in the right seats. And so made Gordy Rush our general manager sometime at the end of 2010. Made some other changes, personnel changes, and just to try to get us going in the right direction. And so we were doing that. We also have a senior living facility in Mandeville, which our equity partners run day to day. So we have a little bit to do with it, but not a ton. And it was building the insurance company up. The insurance company was coming off of the 08-09 financial crisis meltdown when S&P and Moody's had said every bond out there's AA, AAA rated, and turned out to be they were junk or worse.
Right.
And so there was a lot of pain with that. And one of the things I was able to do is there's an investment committee that takes, whenever people give you money for insurance or buying annuities, you have to then turn around and invest their money and try to make a spread. And so we brought in new advisors to help us with that, several on the outside that had not worked with us before. And I sort of led that because I had friends in the investment business in Dallas and other places. And that actually worked out really well. They did a great job for us. It was, again, one of those examples of we don't know everything. Let's try to find the help that we need to make us better.
Right.
And we got an offer to sell the insurance company, and then that took the better part of I feel like it almost took my life, but it took 2 years of negotiations and regulatory approval because we were in 31 states. You get regulatory approval from the state of Louisiana Department of Insurance. That took a long time because they want to make sure the guys and gals buying it aren't bad guys and gals, you know? And so, and that's understood, but that took about 2 years. And if I had any hair left, that's when it slipped away.
And that's, I guess, something that everybody realizes is when you think I'm going to sell a company, okay, it's great, it's sold, you still have all that back end systems to work through.
Yes.
It's not just sign here on the dotted line like buying a home. It's, it takes 30 days to close a home, 2 years to sell a business.
Yes. And for us, took every minute of those 2 years. And we had employees who were shared between the insurance company and the radio.
Yeah.
They were through corporate. How do we divide those up? Who goes where? Trying to keep everybody happy and all that other kind of stuff. And where's the best place on the new buses for them? And so we went through a lot of that and a lot of angst and everything. And but it worked out, and the right people went in the right places. And then about that time, as the insurance company was being sold, and we had a contractor run it for 2 years after they bought it. But we started thinking we got to get more into digital media.
Yeah, which then kind of transitions into where I want to segue next. You came on insurance company, radio stations. You're on, insurance company gets sold off. Radio stations become kind of the bread and butter.
Correct.
But stuff starts getting added.
Yes. It gets added, and it's added onto that device that you've been scrolling through to see if there's a good question on Facebook. It's called your iPhone or your Android or your computer or whatever else.
Yeah. But more so than that, you started to bring on other companies.
Yes.
To the Guaranty family. So what has that process kind of been like going from, all right, we just sold off our insurance company, which you said was 90% of everything the business had. Now we've got 10% is now our 100%.
Yes, exactly. How do we make this work?
How do we make this work?
Right.
And at the same time, grow the brand, grow the company to the new heights to where that 10% becomes worth what that 90%
exactly.
was.
Well, Gordy Rush and I were in Indianapolis, Indiana at the National Radio Show in 2014, where radio revenue growth was projected to be down like 1% over the next 5 years or something like that. And we had, of course, been streaming our signals and stuff like that. And we're getting more into the digital aspects of just the radio part of it. And we just sort of looked at each other. I think we got together in the lobby after one of the days there and said, we got to do some more things. And we started saying, well, we tried to partner with digital companies, do different stuff like that, and sort of hit us at the same time. We need to buy one.
Digital
media agency.
Digital media agency.
Exactly. And where a lot of the advertising and revenue has gone. It's just the way life is. Things change. We got in a room with about 8 of us in the company, and we threw about 15 names up on the board of local digital media agencies.
That were for sale at the time?
No, not for sale at all, or not that we were aware of. And we had a consultant at the time and said, hey, I know the owner of GatorWorks. I think y'all would be a good fit culturally and everything. That was Brian Rodriguez. And he said, let me set up a lunch. And so we all ended up having lunch with us. Like Brian did, just like we did when somebody came to try to buy something from us, kind of rolled his eyes. He had a nice talk, but rolled his eyes and went, this will never happen.
Right.
And Brian and I developed a relationship, and we promised him several things, but what we promised him is we'd be truthful and that we're going to grow this together. And Brian had brought his company from, as I like to say, well, you don't say basement in Louisiana, but from his parents' garage, because if you have a basement in Louisiana, it'd be underwater. He started in his garage in high school, and when he was at LSU, he built it up. And it gotten to a certain point that it makes sense to partner with somebody like us. And we negotiated back and forth, and made him, apparently what was a good enough offer to agree to come on board. And so we bought GatorWorks in the end of July in he'll kill me if I screw this up. I'm trying to remember what year we're in, 17, I guess. And so it was 2017.
Because we can go back on his episode.
Yeah, I know.
We'll put the clip side by side.
He always sends a message, 3 years ago today, this happened.
That's
wonderful.
Right.
And so anyway, and it's been wonderful. He's grown from 9 employees to about 24 with more room for growth. He has grown his business about 4.5 times since we bought it, revenue-wise.
That's incredible.
It's fantastic. A lot of that has come from the radio salespeople that we have who have the relationships in this market with people and who are saying, yeah, I'm going to do radio, but I'm also need some help with my digital. And boom, we just turn them over to GatorWorks, and It's been a great partnership.
Because it's like for radio, that's one avenue, right?
Yes.
It's one medium to get your message across to a crowd or a group of people.
Yep.
But having that digital space, and like we just had somebody comment, you might know Jay Parker.
Jay Parker, yeah.
Just commented.
Nice
and
I like Jay.
Yeah, he said, speaking
he
of
starts
digital
work for
media,
us next week.
He said, I heard a really cool guy coming to help out with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if we're ready to talk about that.
But still on the GatorWorks side, Jay, we'll get there. We'll get to that segment. Yeah. But still on the GatorWorks side of this homogenous relationship when you acquire a company, and it's almost like your company A is a funnel for company B, right? You've got those sales reps. Hey, you're already advertising what's on the radio. It works well. Why don't we go a step above and push what we can?
Yep.
Get it out there in new light, new fashion, get it on the devices that everybody's already on, and put it in front of people.
Yeah, and that was the whole idea. They build websites, they do geofencing, geo-targeting, search engine optimization, Google ads, Facebook ads, they blog for people, they do it. They're so good at what they do. It's incredible. And Brian has been so much fun to work with. And he'll tell you, we lived up to what we said we were going to do, and that makes me feel good, because we weren't the corporate raiders who were going to buy them out and then fire everybody, because we didn't have the people who do their work. Who was going to do the work if we did that, Yeah. And so it's been really exciting to watch them grow. They were, of course, nervous, and people in that industry in general are younger. I mean, there's nothing bad or good or bad about that.
It's just a fact.
That is what they've gone into right out of college and stuff like that. And so I walk in bald and gray beard, my CFO, who's older than me, walks in and they think, well, the old guys are coming in and they're going to do it the old way, whatever that is. And it's like, no, y'all take it and run with it. We're here to support you. I don't know how to build a website,
That's right.
I don't. So how am I going to do that? I'm looking for the easy button on everything, especially a computer. I certainly don't know how to build a website.
And it's, you come on board and we can fix some of the problems y'all have. And also y'all can help us grow the business as a whole.
Exactly.
If it's, you may have a trouble with, you may not have a big enough HR department to handle the people you're hired in. Guess what
expertise.
we do?
Yeah, that's what
our
we've
expertise.
done. We took a lot of the back office stuff away from Brian so he could focus on the business. And he's done a great job. His team's great. Lindsay Duga, Trent Hill, and many more, but they certainly deserve shout outs, a couple of his big leaders.
And those in the entrepreneurial space owning a business, thinking to themselves, when is the right time to sell the company? When is the right time to maybe go in with somebody else? Maybe not sell and exit, but sell and join.
Yes.
Kind of with what happened here with GatorWorks and Brian is we can't handle the back end of the office. It's kind of where people tend to see that fall off is the back end, the HR, the stuff that happens day to day with the employees. I need time off. Okay, well, I guess I'll sign the card, so on and so forth. And it's like we're too busy focused on the craft as an entrepreneur that some of that other stuff falls behind. With y'all reaching out, it just like makes sense to say, okay, y'all already have all this in place. We can focus even more so. On honing in on that craft.
And that's what Brian has said has happened. A lot of things he used to get into the weeds on. And Brian's a different entrepreneur too, because he loves to plow into spreadsheets and all that stuff. And my picture of a lot of entrepreneurs are, not that Brian doesn't see things from a 20,000 foot, but a lot of them are 30,000, 40,000. Let's just throw it on the wall. Brian is, throw it on the wall and see if it sticks. Brian is a well thought out, hire very slow, max himself and everybody else out before we add that expense,
Right.
And it's worked, and it's just I went by there today. I had a meeting close by and I got to go by there and just, they're back in the office, and it's good to see all the faces and everything. So good group of people, it's a lot of fun.
And then within that, you've also started to Guaranty has started to absorb some other companies and talent.
Yes. Well, you win with talent. ESPN has not called me recently and said, hey, we need you in Bristol to do Sports Center. We're getting rid of Scott Van Pelt or any other person like that. But we have searched out really good talent in this market. And so for those who don't know, we have a country station, 100.7 The Tiger. You had Brittany and Abby Lee on with you the other day. We have a talk station, 107.3, Eagle 98.1, and 104.5 ESPN. And all those stations have great talent. Jay Ducote is one of the ones you're referencing, I believe, in this recent acquisition when we bought Jay's companies. And Jay is a self-made, I eat and drink, which was blog, Bite and Booze blog used to say, I eat, I drink, I write. Well, he eats, he drinks, he writes. He does radio show. He does cooking videos. He does government taco. Somewhere on your computer, you have a nice government taco, which is on Government Street, right next to Cloud Drive, next to the Fleur de Lis. Wonderful tacos that are there.
Yeah.
Jay, we have his barbecue sauces, his molasses, mustard, and 4 different rubs, which I put on everything I cook on the barbecue pit. Jay has been on, as you know, Beat Bobby Flay, which he did, one of the few people to do that. America's Next Top Chef, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of it. Lots of stuff. And so we're into big personalities, Matt Moscona and Brittany and Abby Lee and T-Bob and Jacob Hester and Michelle Southern and Jay and Brian Haldane, Big D and Bubba. I can go on and on. And so Jay seemed like a perfect fit for that because Jay has already got a lot of the digital world we're talking about, in his pocket.
He's coming from that blogging space, that content creation space.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to fill in with talk.
Yeah. Now we may have
Guaranty.
Jay spread a little thin, but he's young. He can do it.
That's right.
And we've had a great time. And I mean, Jay is so well known in of all of our personalities. So I like to say somebody in Seattle, Washington may not care about what's going on with LSU football, but they eat and they drink, and so the ability to take Jay national and build that brand out, we believe is a great opportunity for us.
Yeah. And then with Jay comes along that Guaranty brand.
Yes.
Right. Which again, that relationship of acquiring and absorbing them, saying, hey, great, keep doing what you're doing, just do it for us.
Yeah, exactly. And you cut a deal with somebody like that, and you do the same thing we did with Brian at GatorWorks, and you don't promise them the moon, but you promise to be honest and truthful and to have good conversations with them and to support them in their dreams. And you just don't have to worry about payroll anymore. We'll take care of that and HR and all those other things and give you some advice from our years of being in business,
Right.
And it's worked out well.
And that's, I think, one of the biggest things for entrepreneurs when they think about selling the company or going into an acquisition with someone else is losing that creative control.
Right.
Losing, like you said, when y'all walked in, you had the gray hair and the no hair, and everybody's like, oh, we're doing the old way. We're losing our touch, we're losing our flair, which some businesses don't successfully pull off an acquisition. Right. They try to inflict or, inject too much corporate into that little brand. Yeah. But it seems like that Guaranty has kind of found that little sweet spot.
Yeah. And we found companies that were kind of at a certain revenue level and needed a little bit of oomph to get to the next level. And now look, if you go out and buy a company and pay a fortune for it and say, this is the way we're doing it, oh, well, so be it.
That's
you need
the way
to tell the person you're buying that company from, though, that that's the way it's going to be. Don't lie to them. I mean, it's only going to come back and bite you.
Right. Like you said, you didn't promise in the moon, but you promised to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you got to start doing this new procedure within your normal life because that's how things are done. But you don't have to go ahead and change the whole wheel out.
Yeah. We're not, my picture is not on Jay Ducote's products now.
That's right.
Where I winked at him and said, yeah, we'll keep you up at the forefront. No, it's still Jay Ducote. That's who people know.
I don't know. I think putting you behind Jay in the background. Yeah. For the pictures. Waving that little head on the side of the shoulder.
Exactly.
Maybe you need a little branding push.
Eating a taco or something, eating some ribs. The tacos at Government Taco are unbelievable.
I know. So then transitioning from that, you've got this guy who's in radio, who does a Bite and Boo show, eats drinks for a living, and writes about it. Yep. People absorb and are drawn to that. Now goes and actually tries to prove concept. Can he cook and show up on a scale that people will continue to come back for?
Right.
And now this insurance company that started in the early 1900s is now slinging tacos.
Yeah, exactly. And my father might kill me if he was still with us. But again, it's the insurance company got into the TV and radio business. It's the same thing. And my dad did other things through the years, energy in the early 80s when oil busted, other things. And so I think you may have a question in a minute about 3 things you've learned, and so I won't give that away. But I mean, that's just the way it is, it's just things we've tried. And it's not about now, don't get me wrong, you want everything to work and to be successful. But it's about trying. If you don't try, then what's the point, you know? And I'm sort of in between Jay and let's say our CFO Forrest. I'm okay with throwing a little bit of spaghetti on the wall and see if it sticks, Yeah. Now Jay will throw the whole jar up there and see what gets there, and it's worked for him. And my CFO will throw a piece of spaghetti up every 30 years, and so there's got to be a balance of all of us.
Right.
But it's all about experience and having a team of different ideas and getting in a room and sharing them and coming to a decision.
And so within that, as a business owner, as somebody who wants to start looking into, can we absorb a company to continue operations? But when you get to that point where you're just on a roll and you're just going one after the other, how do you find that balance of not spreading the company too thin?
Great question. I'll do another episode when we figure that out. I'm happy to come back for that one.
And that's all, folks.
Yeah, that's it. We're done. So our executive team is very small, and our bandwidth we're there.
Right.
And so if somebody came to us with an idea that we had to jump into so much the way we've done GatorWorks and the way we've done Jay's, I probably wouldn't do it right now. We've invested in some other things where we're able to be pretty silent and just invest in. You had Scott go down here the other day. with a bank coming to Baton Rouge or buying a branch in North Louisiana. And so we can do things like that, which require me to sit on a board or whatever.
Right.
But in terms of day to day, I mean, our corporate executive team is 2 people. Our whole company-wide executive team, there's 5 of us,
Wow.
And so it's not
you got
like
more companies than that under your belt.
we do. And so, but we like to remain real, I say thin, but we don't want a lot of fat in the company. And so, because, that's just not how we operate. It's always how my dad did it, and let's see if we can get by with what we got,
Yeah.
So
now we can get into what Jay Parker was discussing earlier.
Jay Parker, yes.
That digital media space, because in normal reality, normal words, when people think of radio, they think of just the airways, right?
Right.
In my car, now a little bit sitting at my desk.
Right.
People are starting to open up to that more of listening to music or listening to talk radio at work. I work with somebody who's got an old CD cassette player that they listen to the radio on in their office.
Yeah.
So within radio world, that's all people think of. But what y'all are doing is kind of changing that perception and moving with technology, moving with people and where their attention is to screens.
Right.
What is that looking like for Guaranty?
We can now say, Alexa, play, Talk 107.3, and it will come up.
Yeah, you can say, Alexa, play the Patty G show, and it'll play.
Exactly. And so used to be, if you wanted to catch a morning show, you had to catch it from 6 to 9 o'clock, and that was it.
Yeah, you got to, for radio, you may not hear the whole show if you're in your car for 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And so as I'll keep pointing to your phone, mine's in my pocket, and you're able to get content whenever you want it, just about however you want it. You can get it. This is audio here. This is video. Obviously, there's multiple cameras here, which I'm very uncomfortable with. Face for radio. You've heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
And so you've got to deliver it when you want it, when I want it, and when your wife wants it, and when your parents want it, and in the way that they want it. And so our first big venture besides streaming was we built the ESPN TV studio in our building. And so now let's just say you watch Jacob Hester and T-Bob in the morning, and you can catch them on YouTube. You can, which obviously everything's on your phone. You catch them on traditional radio. You can catch them streaming. You can catch them on Cox Sports Television, and we've syndicated their programs to other stations in the state. And so that's multiple channels. That requires heavy investment. And that ESPN Studio was Gordy Rush's idea because others around the country have done it. Gordy sits on the ESPN radio advisory board. We're probably the smallest station, smallest market in America that's on that advisory board. Gordy's developed a great relationship with ESPN. So you can get that stuff everywhere. We have got to continue to produce that kind of content with our current talent. And then we also have got to dive farther and farther into the podcast world, the on-demand, the YouTube live stuff, YouTube shows, clips, segments, anything anybody wants. We need more clicks, more views, more all that stuff. So we have hired Jay Parker, who starts with us next week, and he's going to be in charge of all of that for Guaranty Media. And we have a podcast studio. We have I call it a YouTube studio, but it's a
film studio.
And then we have more space where we're anticipating, with Jay's help, he's going to put our standards, procedures in place, and we're going to build out the rest of that. And it's going to be something our internal team can use, and the community is going to have access to it for a fee to be able to do podcasts from it and to shoot video and all kind of stuff like that. And so we're really excited about that. I know some other people across the country who have done this, and they're doing real well with it. And so we're excited about kicking that off. And good thing about when an insurance company moves out of your building, you got extra space.
You got a whole floor of extra space.
Absolutely. And I think if we bunch some people up, we'd probably end up with about 2 floors. So, but we've got 1 floor in mind. We're going to start building this out.
Yeah, which is incredible because you're going from radio, which is audio only.
Yes.
So you only have one medium to worry about.
Right.
You only have one medium to learn the technology for.
Right.
When you get to the podcasting, the web series, the shows, the YouTube series, you're now having to learn not only how to do the audio for the radio, but how do you incorporate the video with that?
Yes.
But then how do you incorporate the live video with that? But then how do you transmit that to all the other platforms? And
Yes.
it's this knowledge that is not, it's not well known, but it is known. And it's like, how do we get that communicated to our staff, to our team, so that they all know what they're doing and they can all make it all work without having one person run from room to room to room to room
Right.
to room to room to room.
And since you weren't available to hire, that's why we went and found somebody like Jay Parker, who's got that knowledge. And he's going to help us with that, help our team, and excited. I mean, it's infinite. It's an infinite amount of stuff we can theoretically do.
Right.
And our idea is to partner with other shows, to get Jay to Cody in Guaranty's test kitchen and have him doing shows there that we send out to people in Seattle, Washington, and, Bangor, Maine, and wherever else who are interested in that Southern barbecue, taco, different type of stuff.
Yeah.
Which, as I said before, somebody in Maine may not care about the LSU football team,
Yeah. And
They eat and drink, though.
but what they might care about is in the next Jay to Cody cookbook, flipping to a page with a menu with a recipe and pictures,
Yes.
but having a QR code that they can scan that pulls up the tutorial video on YouTube that he's taking the time through the test kitchen.
Got a pen? Got a pen? If Jay Parker's still watching, write this down, Jay.
Jay just commented, so I think he's still watching. But on the next cookbook, the technology's there and it's easy to implement. Having that QR code of watch Jay cook this dish that is now being streamed in a advertised filled space or guarantee filled space that Jay is now going through each item in his cookbook, that you can watch him live stream it first. So you get that question and feedback while he's cooking, but also it goes on to the YouTube channel or whatever channel you want. And now people who buy the cookbook can go watch that interaction. And if people have the same questions from time to time. So if somebody's asking it on Facebook or somebody's asking it on YouTube, the next viewer may have that same question, and boom, someone asks it. Jay is live time answering it. And now you're talking about a whole new space for books, cookbooks, and digital media that is not being explored right now, at least to the fullest extent it can in a city like Baton Rouge.
And that's why I like you.
So before we get into too much, we got to start wrapping up the show.
Oh, are we done? No way. We got cigars. I mean, we hadn't even gotten to those yet.
If the owners of Earl's are watching, we might smoke a cigar in here.
Man, I don't want to get in
off
trouble
camera.
with any of those good people. I think I know both of them, or a few of them, whatever.
But towards the end of the show, we do have the set list of questions. Right? The set list of good, hard-hitting questions.
Yes.
We'll start it off with the biggest banger. When you were a kid, what was something you did that you wish you still could do today?
I wish I could go back to 355 Sherwood Forest Boulevard with my two younger sisters and build two forts in the backyard and have bottle rocket wars like we used to have when I grew up in the 70s and anything went. We threw lit firecrackers at each other. We shot bottle rocket at each other. No eyes got knocked out.
That's right.
We had a blast. And if I could do one thing with them, that's what it would be. Because I had an older sister who was makeup and girly stuff. The other two were like, if I was going outside to do something, we were going and we were firing that stuff off at each other.
And that we did that. Not as kids, as high schoolers. We started making shoulder mount artillery shell launchers.
Oh, love it. Yes.
And shooting them at people. We would then throw a New Year's Eve party that we would have to bring our horses to our neighbor's house because we freaked the living daylights out of them. Right. And so we would make this launching pad that would shoot, I think it was 14 artillery shells at once.
Oh, love it.
So we'd screw them down to a 2x6. And we build braces around sections of 4. And then we get electrical tape and tape them. And my dad owns a plumbing company.
Oh, yeah?
So we get one of those butane torches.
Oh.
We just run, light them. And it sounds like a fireworks show going off.
Love it.
And it just would light up the sky.
Nobody got hurt. So we did fine.
That's right. We put them in upside down every now and again to see how big of a crater we can make in the ground.
Love it.
Fun times. Fun times.
Good times.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Glenn Hatcherson on the Facebook page? So question number 2 for you. What is 3 lessons that you've kind of learned along the way throughout your career? I mean, you're all over the map here, right? You're going from insurance to radio to digital media marketing company to a taco shop.
All right. Don't, and we've sort of touched on them. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's okay. But admit it when you do. That's the caveat. It's okay.
Yeah. That's the caveat that anybody is afraid of acknowledging.
Yeah, and it's okay.
Yep, guys, I made a mistake. That's on me.
Yeah.
My bad. But here's how I'm going to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Do that. I've talked about it earlier, and I really do mean this. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them proportionally, and be nice to others. It's a crazy world we live in, and there's a lot of different opinions and thoughts on all kinds of stuff. Could you just be nice to people?
Yeah.
Do you have to? Do I have to respond to everything I see that I disagree with? No. Somebody has a right to their opinion, and I can just move on with my life, and it's okay. So those 3 things. May a better world if we all did that. From the top, the most powerful person in the world, the previous most powerful person in the world, all the way down. Everybody's got something to offer in this world. So be nice to them. They know something you don't.
That's right. No one knows exactly everything you know how you know it, and you don't know everything that someone else knows exactly how they know it.
That's exactly right.
And that I think the point where you said about how don't respond to people with that aggression all the time just because of how they do something. Like that.
They just have a different opinion.
They have a different opinion, or they have a different way of doing things. Yeah. Right. Now, don't get me wrong. We all want to curse out the person that cuts us off in traffic.
Oh, yeah. In Baton Rouge.
And especially in Baton Rouge. But being able to take a step back and realize maybe something else is going on in their life that they had to make that action.
Yep.
But I don't need that to then affect my life in a negative way.
Right.
Because people can get their days ruined real fast off of one interaction, a split second.
Right.
Your whole day can be ruined off of just one little action. But if we take our time and realize, okay, maybe there's something going on. Maybe the person that cut you off is late because a loved one's dying somewhere and they're trying to get there.
That's what it actually tells himself. They're on their way to the hospital.
They're on their way to the hospital. Their wife could be in labor. Their kid could be bleeding out. You don't know what's happening in that car. So why do we instantly jump to those conclusions of, can't believe they did that to me.
I've got to kill them.
Basically, right?
They didn't wave.
they didn't wave. They didn't use a blinker. How do we get past that? And like you said, one day at a time, listen more, breathe, and just be nice.
Be nice. Yep, absolutely.
So 3rd question is, what do you love most about Baton Rouge?
Love. Well, there's a lot of things to love. I love the people. I love the it's the big. What is the biggest smallest big town, biggest small town,
biggest
whatever
small town there is.
Yeah, and I think that may have been said. There are. I literally have to go very far to make a connection in this town. I constantly get a text message from somebody going, "Do you know so and so? I was talking to them about you," or whatever. They want to meet, or then do you know them? Oh yeah, I work with them on this project, and I really enjoy that. There's a lot of good things. There's good culture. There's good food. I've been in Tiger Stadium a million times, and that's always been some of the highlights of my life. My great memories of my father when I was young, that type of thing. I think, and another thing is what's great about Baton Rouge, and which is also the challenge, is we haven't reached our potential yet. So thank God we're not there yet. We can do better. And there's a lot of people working hard to do better. There's a lot of businessmen and women who are working on that. You're highlighting them and showcasing them. It's awesome. This is a great show. I'm so happy for what you've done and started at such a young age. It's really, really cool. Plus you're a CPA and all kinds of other things on the side.
all those other things. I love how you say CPA on the side.
Yeah, right. I'm sure your boss doesn't think that.
No, I don't think so. Okay, well, for the final question, what can I do to help you?
You're doing it already. You have, in some ways, I think I'm roughly 30 years older than you, but you've taken me under your wing. You've introduced me to the things that you're doing. And it goes back to me not knowing everything and you being an expert in a field, and you've done however many shows you've done. And you've really just opened up. You've come and looked at our facilities and done all those kind of things. And I'm just grateful for that. And you answer my questions, so you're doing it. So,
well, I like to keep a mentality of community grows together, not individually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Flynn, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
for
on the
having
show.
me. Appreciate it. You got a great crew here too.
Yeah, Flashbang, they do a banging job.
Yeah,
they come in.
Might have
and they
made me
line
look
it
good.
up. I know, like that's the best thing they've done is make me look a little bit
Right.
Presentable, right?
I understand.
So, big thanks to them for doing what they do with the show. Big thanks for you for coming on the show. And also want to give a big thanks to our sponsors for making this show possible. Triton Stone, it's a woman-owned, family-run business based out of New Orleans. They've got 22 locations across the Southeast. They offer a curated selection of slabs, tools, sinks, and for those looking to remodel or build, schedule an appointment with them at tritonstone.com. Check them out, and they will be sure to take you to new heights you ever dreamed. And also to our newest sponsor, Flynn Real Estate. They are a local app. If you're looking to sell your home with how crazy the market is, they've got homes I've been seeing going on the market and being under contract in the matter of a day. It's just ridiculous as what's happening. So check out Flynn Real Estate. They're here in the community. They're local. And as everyone knows, this show is all about local people and local businesses. Yeah. So with that, Flynn, thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
Thank everybody else for listening. Thank you all for tuning in, whether it be through Facebook, the actual podcast, YouTube, whatever platform you're on. Hit us up and let you know which platform you like the best and which ones we can also do better on. I am Patty G, host of The Patty G Show. Thank you all so very much, and y'all have a good one.